All right. All right, everybody. Welcome back to episode 58 of Top Tier Podcast. My name is Bobby.
Nick Hogan here.
We out here, baby.
Yes, sir.
June is here. June is here. The summer is here.
Yes,
summer
happy Pride
technically
Month,
into
everyone.
June. Happy Pride Month, everyone. Happy summer month. June. June is always a great month.
Yeah, man.
All the festivals and concerts are popping up. I went to one yesterday. For those, Steve Lacy had a big ass concert in Pasadena.
Hey. How was that?
It was good. It was good. I mean, I was mostly there for Tori Moi. I'm not the biggest,
Yeah, because they're doing they're touring together, aren't they?
Yeah, they're touring together.
Him and James Blake.
Yeah, him, James Blake, Fouché. They're all touring together.
Got the
I was there for
connects.
Toro. I know. Steve said that the concert people reached out to him, was like, hey, here's a bag. Pick the people you want to come with you. And he was like, cool, I got Toro. He literally said this. He's like, I got Toro, we got Fouché, James Blake, hit him up, hooked it up, and they're on the road now. Mm-hmm. Toro, that's the thing is crazy about Toro. Toro is like in the industry. Like
he collabs with everybody.
People
I was
know
just about
him.
to say that.
He's known. Yeah. He's like, and he's getting bigger and bigger. Like his song, what was it? It was on Ordinary. What was that song called? It was on Outer
Too many
Peace.
to remember.
Ordinary.
Okay.
I think it was. It wasn't. What's it? It wasn't. It was on Outer Peace. It wasn't Max Ordinary Pleasure. It was another song.
What about it?
But that song is big. That song's huge. That's definitely his biggest song.
Like on TikTok or something.
Not even just on TikTok. They play like in Target all the time. Like every time I go to Target, when that year or two after it dropped, you would hear that song in stores like all the time. Like when that song went on
at my store.
When that song went on, everybody was going crazy. I was like, damn, that shit is that popular? Like I knew that.
How was
that,
the performance though?
Yeah.
Like, did they sing? Like, 'cause they don't have any songs together. So like, what was the performances like? It was just Steve.
Oh, it was like separate. So they would do like an hour of Fouché, an hour of Toro, an hour.
And Steve closed.
Steve closed, yeah.
Okay, so it's kind of his show.
It really was like his show, yeah. Everybody was there for Steve. People were showing up like damn near when it was his time to go on. They could not give a fuck. It was kind of crazy.
Yeah, I'm sure that the amount of people there, like amongst the people that were there, is probably all kids, just all teenagers.
It was all like it wasn't like one of those festival kind of things where it's like you have to be 18 to get in. It was like a lot of little kids there with their families there, but like
with families,
it was a lot of like.
Steve Lacy's a family guy.
TikTok generation. I'd say like 16 to like 23. 16 to like a year or two before our age.
I know when Bad Habits came on,
that's that TikTok
they was
generation. Yeah,
when
they
Bad
love
Habits
Steve.
came on, they was probably screaming and hollering.
One of my homies, he's a year younger than me, and he's a substitute teacher. He said his kids love Steve from this TikTok video. I don't know what song it was, but he was like he
probably
recorded it so he could show them. I think it was. I'm pretty sure it's what
had
it was.
to be.
He recorded it. He said my students gonna go crazy.
Yeah, TikTok is like the radio now. People don't even listen to the radio. It's just whatever's popping on TikTok. Remember we talked about it, how they're trying to make a streaming platform. Mm-hmm. Try to be like the next Spotify. Didn't Snapchat try to do that too?
I think so.
That's the new wave, man.
That's the new wave. It definitely is the new wave. But yeah, the last thing I gotta say is just like I did not know it was that serious with Steve. Like people were screaming and oh my God, Steve. Just all like howling and screaming. I'm sitting back because I didn't want to be in the crowd. It was kind of like a festival kind of vibe where you could be up front, stand, or you could be back and get like high up and get like a really nice view, put it on like a blanket like at the beach and just kind of enjoy it. And the screen, everything was huge. They had all these big ass screens so you can really see his face. You know you're far away. But like I was like back kind of by myself and I was like people was like screaming because my friends had moved in. We all sat together until Steve came on and they wanted to be in the crowd. So I was just
trying
in the
to
same
mosh to
spot.
Steve Lacy.
That's what I was saying. And people were screaming all around me. I was like, looking around, like, what the? I thought there was only a couple of people around me. It was only probably
He's gotten
like
pretty popular over the years.
2 or 3 other groups near me. And I was surprised. Yeah, he's gotten huge. I didn't know he was that big. I'm not the biggest fan. Don't kill me. I even said that. My friends looked at me like I was crazy because I was like, like I like Steve. Like they was talking about he sounded like MJ. I was like, all right, now y'all dick riding. Like I don't know.
I mean, it can be as big as it can be as bad as how I've been seeing like these clips from the Renaissance tour. It cannot even be close because people have been going crazy for that Renaissance tour. Have you seen any clips from that?
No, but I mean, I watched Swarm. You seen a bunch of Swarm. The whole show is about the Beehive. So yeah, I believe it.
I mean, I get it. I get it.
Yeah, I
Beyonce.
believe it. Yeah, the whole show.
She's
is
like our new age Michael Jackson.
Exactly. Yeah, I believe it. On that show Swarm, for those who haven't seen Swarm, it's about the Beehive. It's like a parody of like the Beehive and how crazy they are. And the main character is like a murderer who murders people who talk shit on the internet about Beyonce, but it isn't Beyonce. But you know what I'm saying? Like she was.
I think she called him out. I think she called out Donald Glover.
Why?
I think I saw a clip where I don't remember if it's in one of her songs. Maybe she like altered the lyrics or something like that. I forget what it was, but I think I saw it on Twitter or something like that. And she was like, she said something about like, you got that, Donald, or I don't even remember. Someone could correct me on in the comments, but I don't think she was pleased with that show.
Oh damn! I thought if I was her, I would think it was funny because she probably already she probably already knows how crazy her fans are.
To make it seem like her fans are like they are so in love with her to where they would become murderers, serial killers. I don't think. All right, well
that is a good point because I was thinking like that. I would think like some of those situations. I'm pretty sure like people have infiltrated her parties and like been going kind of crazy lengths to meet her. They damn near worship her. Some people on Twitter. So you would think I wouldn't be comfortable if people were like worshiping me. Like nigga, I'm getting a bag. I'm
even the celebrities, bro. I've been seeing so many celebrities at them concerts.
Yeah.
You see that Lori Harvey and Damson Idris was at one of them?
Yeah, I saw that one. People were making a big deal on Twitter because he was like kissing on her
and stuff.
And she was just kind of looking crazy. Like she was just kind of looking at him like.
I mean, she looked like
we're not that serious.
Yeah, she looked like I'm here for it. You know, you can give me a little smooch or whatever, but we're not going to be doing all that PDA right here and right now.
But see, that's a good point. Right?
I'm not going. She's
I had
not
a real life
them.
story like that where I was like, I was in the Damson situation, and she was like, we don't do PDA, and then we ended up doing the thing that later that night. But you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So people didn't consider that. Maybe she's just not,
into PDA.
And that's a very real thing. But
that's true, and I don't follow her too much
and runs with it.
I don't follow her too much to know if she's really one of those people that has public displays of affection quite often.
Yeah. I believe it. I mean, that's a very real possibility, but the internet has turned it into you could just see it. Body language. You could just see it. Even my initial reaction was the same.
I agree.
You could see the body language and be like, she wasn't fucking with him.
She was kind of like, like it almost seemed like kind of like get off me a little bit, like stop a little bit. I don't know.
But she probably knew the cameras was rolling. That shit was gonna be on Twitter that night. You got to think about it from a celebrity perspective.
People are just like filming you. There's somebody because they're looking that way. They're looking at Beyonce. So for somebody to just be turned around with the camera in your face, like you can clearly see that individual is recording you. So that's silly.
Like imagine being Kanye. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you got it.
I was just saying. Last point was like imagine being Kanye, and everywhere you go, there's some random dude with
cameras in your face.
Like if you just like all of a sudden just like scratched your head or something. Or, Kanye West doesn't wear lotion. Kanye West didn't. You know what I'm saying? Like people are scrutinizing like Kanye West is ashy.
Yeah.
He scratched his arm. Like, because there's always somebody watching you because you're Kanye West.
Yeah. Because no one even talked to them about, like, I don't think that they've ever gotten into, maybe it's too early, but I don't think they've ever gotten into, like, interviews about, like, how their relationship is doing. But I think that just based off of the history, well, people, I mean, they're celebrities, so people ask them about I think Damson has talked about it a little bit. But they're celebrities, so people are going to ask them about their lives, and normally they're open about it because it's like the branding and everything about it. You want to be reachable and approachable, but I think just based off of the history of Lori Harvey, people just seem to think that she's just a hoe and she's just moving on. She's jumping from dude to dude, and I kind of see that too. It kind of seems like it.
I mean, she dating around. I mean, I'm not gonna shame her. Dudes have called me a simp for saying the same shit.
Being a hoe, that's a lifestyle.
Someone called me a simp because I'm like, well, you can't control what she does. She want to date somebody else. She want to date somebody else. That's cool.
And I don't expect it for anybody to want to control what I'm doing either. She's a
20-some-year-old, not ready to settle down, not ready to be in a serious relationship. All right, cool.
Yeah. It is that because I'm a hoe. I'm a hoe.
Most men are hoes. It's just we don't get the same type of. It's just not. I don't think me personally that is as easy as just getting on Tinder and it's just like it's busting it open.
We may not be able to hoe as much as a pretty girl, but we still hoe. I mean, they call us dogs. They don't even call us hoes. They call us dogs.
That's literally the same shit, but a male version. It's just you going from girl to girl. You're going to hit pretty much anything you can get your hands on for the most part, consensually. You know what I mean? Like,
and like, who even cares like what Lori Harvey is doing? Like, no, I don't think anybody looks at her like a role model. I doubt there's people on the internet that are like 16 years old, 17 years old, who are about to start dating or whatever, or just now starting to date, who are looking at Lori Harvey as some type of model figure for to emulate in a relationship. I highly, highly doubt it. But you do hear narratives about like how women should, because guys do it, I suppose, women should kind of enjoy their 20s and not settle down with anybody in their 20s. What do you think
That's
about that?
completely a decision, man. I know a bunch of people I went to school with. I see them on Instagram getting married, more than you think.
I like that too.
My college sweethearts who've been dating since the first week of freshman year getting married now.
I respect that.
I've seen like a lot, or even some who just they met someone years later, but they're getting married now. Like a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I respect it. I couldn't do it. I feel like I'm too young. I'm like, dude, like imagine being committed to someone having a little kid on the way. I'm good.
I mean, and didn't nobody say nothing about children. It's just like settling down with somebody, looking towards a long-term future with somebody in
getting
your 20s.
Married.
Yeah.
I'm not getting married until 33 at the earliest. I want to get married between like 33 and 37, something in that range. That's a good age to get married.
How long did she date Michael B. Jordan?
What is it, like 6 months to a year, something like that? I think.
Oh, okay.
I could be
so
wrong.
she's hoeing. She's hoeing. Because the thing is, we get it twisted. You don't have to, just because you're in a long-term relationship with somebody doesn't mean you have to marry them. I think we get it twisted. I think we think that because you settle down. I don't think so, though. I don't think it's that deep.
You could be in a friends with benefits like situation with somebody that makes more sense to me, where y'all are cool but y'all fucking, versus you're in a long-term relationship and one person is thinking, oh, I can marry this, and she's just thinking this is just friends with benefits with a little bit more official terms on it. I think a lot of people date to get
maybe
married.
long-term means something different to me, because long-term to me doesn't mean 6 to 1 month, 6 months to 1 year. That's not long-term to me.
Remember, maybe her
That's not what I'm
definition of
talking
dating is different. They're calling her a hoe, but in her mind, I could say I'm dating somebody exclusively, and I only plan to be with them 6 months. You know what I mean? Because I got things to do. I got people to meet.
That's hoeing.
She may not consider it that. I don't.
If you're with multiple people sexually,
I don't consider that hoeing.
If you're with multiple people sexually or romantically, I can even say romantically. If you're with multiple people in 1 year, you're hoeing. And you do that consistently, you're hoeing. If I was with 2 people last year,
I think it's hoeing
3 people
if
next year.
You just got a revolving door going out. You go out every weekend, got something else back at the place. Like
that's an extreme level of hoeing. There's levels to this. There's levels to hoeing. That's why I said I'm a hoe, but I'm not a hoe that's out every night. I'm not out every week. I'm not out every month either. But when I'm with women, I'm not intending to wife them up. I'm not going to claim them. Lori Harvey doesn't claim any of these niggas. So she's hoeing to me. If it was the other way around and you saw Michael B. Jordan doing this, or you saw Damson Idris doing this, they would say he's hoeing. He's out in the streets. That's what he is.
Yeah. But,
Leonardo DiCaprio.
It depends on who you ask. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I think it just depends on who you ask, because anybody, like, if you were getting in official relationships that are just not working out, how's that hoeing? I think hoeing is you single and you just fucking a lot of people.
It's not that they're not working out. It's that there's no intention. It's that there's no intention for it to work out in the long term. That's why it's hoeing. I'm going in this with the mindset, and maybe it might change, but I'm going in this with the mindset that, yeah, about 6 months to a year from now, I'll probably be in a different relationship. That's a hoe mindset.
When you put it that way, I do agree with that. Yeah.
I don't think there's any debate about that.
Because
I just think there's levels to hoeing.
Most people, I think dating to marry. because like, what's the point of getting in a relationship if you're just anyway just gonna be rotating through men or women? If vice versa, where however you swing, whatever, men, women, you know what I mean? Just in general, like, why are you dating if the whole point is just, we're gonna get in a little fling here and then a little fling here? I'm gonna call it a relationship, but fling here, fling there, fling here, but. I guess you could call that hoeing.
And people don't like to be lonely.
I'm dating to get married, potentially get married. We're going to see how long it goes. If it goes to marriage, it goes to marriage, but that's the mindset. But it seems like a lot of people don't see it that way.
Getting this for some sex. Let me get some sex, some consistent sex. Let me get some consistent company. Just have somebody I could call and text when I need to. They're always available for me. That's probably the reason why people get into relationships. Or just have somebody around. What the fuck is a friends with benefits other than
friends with benefits?
I know
is literally
I can fuck.
What you just said. Yeah, it's like somebody you're cool with, could be your homie, but y'all have sex.
Yeah,
And
if that lasts 6 months, and everybody always sees y'all together, and y'all say we're in a relationship, whatever that means, relationship, but then after that 6 months passes, you doing the same thing with another person, and then after that 6 months passes, you doing the same thing with another person. That's a hoe. I don't think there's any debate to that.
Yeah, I think it's just, especially in the social media era, people will call a thing something else. Even though most people, what I mean, people will redefine what things
And it's
mean.
fine.
And
Like,
that's
I think
fine.
it is
Everybody has their
fine.
own opinion and perspective on
Yeah.
it. I guess your perspective, I agree with it to a certain extent, but I think that's really all it really is. I think people are being too hard on her a little bit.
Yeah.
And I hope Damson understands what the situation is, but
I hope so too,
Yeah.
man, because he gonna end up like Michael B. Jordan, looking salty
Yeah.
at the game. I think that we do live in a time nowadays where people are able to kind of get some of these different types of relationships off, like, and people might still judge it or whatever, like, but at the end of the day, we all, everything. I think pretty much everybody right now is pretty liberal about relationship status and open relationships. You even see people talking about polygamy. Damn polyamory.
Yeah.
People are talking about polygamy now.
polygamy.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
dudes be on Twitter talking about polygamy way. I mean, I'm not. Let me not say way too much, but let me just say, like,
as if you don't agree with it.
It's a
Well, do
thing
you
I
agree
see
with
all
it?
the time. I probably just don't know enough about polygamy because some people crucify me for saying this, but I don't.
It's just multiple. I
Me
think it's just
personally,
multiple
I
wives.
want one. That's what it is. But like
Or
me
multiple
personally,
husbands.
but that's just you were raised in a Western Christian society. Of course you don't. I'm not gonna judge you as long as everybody's on board, everybody's cool with it. What am I gonna say?
In the relationship, yeah.
In the
yeah.
relationship, if it's just a dude with 5 wives and it's cool, nobody's tripping, like, and there's no bullshit going on, nobody's being abused. I don't. As long as everybody's cool and nobody's being abused, I don't care.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
That's the big
Yeah.
problem in America is people try to force you to be a certain. As long as you're not hurting anybody, you're not abusing anybody.
Right.
By all means, have as many wives as you want. That's my mentality on it.
Yeah, I don't
As
know
long
if
as
because a lot of
everybody's
the niggas that I hear talk about that is like in the red pill community. I don't even know if most of them could even afford. Number one, afford that lifestyle. Number two, even could
as long
exist
as
in that lifestyle. Health.
you can afford it and everybody's cool. Who am I going to tell you? You
'Cause
can't.
I think
have
that most of
multiple
them dudes. Sorry to keep talking over you, but I think most of them dudes, they just like the way that sounds, just to have access, like we were talking about just now, just to have access to that many women. I don't think they really care about what comes with, because most dudes can't even. Dude, the divorce rate's over 50% in America, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like 50-60%.
That's for one individual.
How are you gonna have 5 or 6 wives? And because I feel like a lot of these dudes, this is probably gonna be an ignorant take. I'm just gonna let everybody know I have not
here for the
researched this
ignorance.
beforehand. But and I always preface it when I'm about to make a very ignorant take. But
Let's get ignorant.
if it's like a third world, like when I think polygamy, I'm thinking like a third world country with ancient traditions where this was a thing.
That's because
Right.
it's illegal in most states here.
I don't think it is.
I'm
See,
pretty
bro,
sure
this is ignorant
polygamy
take.
is illegal in most states here.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah. I agree with that. I thought you said legal. I was like, I don't
No.
know. This is America. When did
No,
that
I think
happen?
It's probably like 2 states, maybe even
Yeah.
like tops three. But what were you
But,
saying?
imagine you're a man with means in like Africa somewhere. You could have 5 wives because it's
With the
almost
traditional woman.
but you know what I'm trying to say? Like it's like you
The
a
lifestyle is
baller.
cheaper?
If you're a baller down there, they're probably
not as
gonna get what
expensive.
you. Yeah, and they're probably gonna get what you for resources.
Yeah.
Like that's what I think.
That's what they would do
Ignorant take, call
here.
it,
People have been talking about that. Like all y'all women, on at least the ones on these podcasts and all these TV shows, keep talking about the fact that they want niggas that are making 6 figures and even some of them high 6 figures. So if y'all really want that, there's only a select amount of men. I mean, you could count them on your fingers in your area, in your local area.
Yeah.
So if that's the type of man that all y'all want, man, well, polygamy is gonna have to probably be an option for some of y'all.
Yeah.
You know, I know y'all want the exclusivity of it, but
That
there's
made me
only so
think.
much.
I've heard people say that before. Where it's like a lot of these, like in that video, where there was like they were asking a lot, and they were beautiful women. They were asking them like, hey, what kind of man do you want? How much money? They asked. It was specific on the money. It was like, oh, I want a man who makes 6 figures. He needs to make at least $350K. He needs to make at least $650K. And they was
Yeah,
like, well,
somebody said over $500,000 a year.
yeah. They was like, well, what do you think that the median, salary for a man in the United States was? It was like 40-something thousand. It was like $45K. They was just like, all their jaws dropped. they just couldn't believe it. I'm like, what kind of job you working in America that you don't know that?
Yeah, that's
To
main
me,
social
you
media,
think
bro.
that's common knowledge. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, but that's why people clown our generation, is because even though we have so much access to information and we see a lot of information, we digest a lot of information, we don't necessarily hold on to that information.
That's a Google
what I mean?
search. I think it was something like only 12% of men make above 6 figures. And I don't
But
know if you break it
but
down more.
we don't really
Yeah.
retain that information. We hear it, we might see a
but you don't retain
30-second TikTok on it, but then you on to the next one, then the next one, and then the next one. So people probably, and then when you're watching those TikToks, you're probably seeing ballers. You're not seeing nobody that's flexing $40,000 salary a year.
No, you're not. And then I promise you, if you break it down, it's something like 90% of them are not making it out of 100K to 200K. So it's just to ask for 650K, that's such a small number of men.
Yeah.
You'll never find that. But then going back to the polygamy topic, I'm sure a lot of women, if it was legal, wouldn't mind sharing a man if he had that means.
I mean, I don't know.
That's probably something to think about. Like that's honestly, I don't think we're educated enough to have it. But if someone we had a guest star who really knew about it.
Yeah, we should have a guest star.
That would be a crazy topic because it's like
I think people would do more interested in open relationships, but polygamy is a little different. Like Nick Cannon is in a polygamous relationship.
Yeah, it's just unofficial, but like I can agree with that. Imagine
I don't
if it was
think
legal.
that there's many women. Maybe I'm wrong because like we're talking about, there's a lot of women that say that they want this type of that type of man that has that much money. All they really seem to care about is the financial resources. But I don't know if there's that many women who could see themselves being in a relationship with a nigga and at the same time be in a relationship, like a cordial relationship, not romantically, but in a cordial relationship with almost 11 other women who all have their own children. I don't know. Because I know like certain women, like they don't mind like if a nigga cheats on them or whatever like that. They'll still go back to him or whatever. But and then another thing is like I know for a fact men wouldn't want that. Like,
yeah, some are gonna get jealous. There's gonna be preferential treatment. Like imagine you have 5 wives, but you really like the first one you married, and you have the other ones. And you probably live with her most of the time,
and you'd have to deal with that.
You have to deal with the beef on that
relationship.
It would have to be like you would have to have family meetings with all the wives, where it's like y'all have to hash it out. That's a lot. That's a lot of pressure. Like, could you if you had Elon Musk money, if you had Elon Musk money, but they said you had to have 5 wives first, could you handle that?
No, because and that's the thing. That's what
that was conditioned.
There's a level of support that needs to be given besides just financial. There is so much, bro. Like the emotional support, the intelligence that you have to have about each woman.
Are you gonna have enough libido and nut to, you know what I'm saying, to like satisfy
children,
all of them?
Yeah, and then if you have children, to remember all them niggas' names, to give time individually to all, or not individually, but inclusively to all of those children and all of those women. I'm not doing that. That's too much.
You're gonna look like a fool at some point. You have five wives. You know, imagine you had 3 kids with 3 kids each. That's 15 kids. You're gonna fuck up somewhere. It's gonna be a kid's birthday. You're gonna forget. You have to be a very organized, on top of it dad who actually cares. Top of your busy life.
Even just in my dating life, like I don't normally entertain multiple at the max. And this, if I were to adopt polygamy, it would have to be at the max 2 women. Because even in my dating life, I'm not going to entertain more than 2 women. Yeah, it's just too much for me. It becomes too much. It would have to be 2. It would have to be 2 max because you can't. It's just too much. You got to do too much. You got to keep track of and balance. Scheduling. Yeah. It's just too much pressure. It's too much pressure for me.
The mind games, especially if they know each other. It's not like you're in a talking stage talking to 2 different women. If they know each other and they're like, he sent this to me the other day. So, he sent this to me too. You kind of fucked. You know what I'm saying? Imagine having to deal with that like on a official marriage level where it's
everybody. That's the thing. Like you're a husband to all of those women. You're not just some nigga that they have a kid with. You're a husband. They look to you to be a husband, so you have to do husbandly duties for all of those women. There's not enough of you to go around for that. I think men just really like the idea.
Your be drained all the time. They like the idea of having a harem that they can have sex with.
That traditional woman,
variety. I swear that's
traditional woman type shit. That's why I'm gonna fly across the country and I'm gonna get 2 wives type shit.
Like them harem animes, they have whole anime genres where it's just about one dude and it's like 10 girls like him. That's like a fantasy for men where it's like they have. That's clearly in Japan because they keep making them, but it's like, how do you have time to, like we just said that, like
Here too, though.
They like the sex aspect of it, but everything else, that's a full-time job.
The passport bros.
Exactly.
They do that shit.
What do you mean? They just going over there to buy sex, a lot of these niggas.
Oh, I thought they were going over there for actual relationships like wives.
A lot of them are, but a lot of them trick too. That's a whole other thing.
Oh, so they just spewing like some bullshit.
They be grifting and spewing bullshit and tricking. You know?
Oh, I believed it. I thought they were actually going there looking for love.
A lot of them are, though. But like, I feel like a lot of them are getting played, dude. Like, I don't know. I don't know if I believe that whole passport bro movement, because I'm like, you got that American dollar. You're gonna get over there and you're gonna get gold dug. I think you call that an ignorant take. I'm not saying everyone across the board.
So you're saying they're not escaping it.
It's the same thing. I'm saying it's probably gonna be worse. I think it's gonna be worse. I think to a certain extent, because it's like here at least you're a peon, but if you go overseas, they're gonna try to get that American dollar out of you.
But I don't get it. They're still trying to get the American dollar out of you here. That's why they're leaving.
Well, yeah, they're trying to get the American dollar out of you. Well, but what I'm trying to say is like if you're a dude with a $50K salary, that's not a man of like significant wealth. Maybe someone might try to get it out of you, might try to take a little what you got out of here. But overseas, when that money goes 3 to 5 times as far, you are now a man of means over there, is what I'm trying to say.
I think they want that treatment.
So it's going to be even worse.
I think they want that treatment. That's why men are pissed off. That's why those passport bros are pissed off, and they're like, all right, then I'm going to just go somewhere where I can get that type of treatment. They want to be treated like when they see, because they're going to get angry at it. Mm-hmm. About these women saying like, oh, we want a guy that's making $150,000, but I only make a third of that. So I'm gonna go over here where accounted for whatever the denominations are and whatever the conversion is. Now I'm making that $150,000 in this country. Now I can get that type of treatment. I think they're kidding themselves. Maybe they're playing themselves. I don't think the women are playing them.
I think they're playing themselves. I'd rather stay here in the States, find a nice sister who understands my language, and culture.
Because what we don't understand, like.
That's all I really care about. Like at the end of the day, honestly.
What we don't understand about it seems like men are kind of missing the point that most women. First of all, let's break it down mathematically. Less than 1% of men even make that much money that all these women are asking for, right? But you see a lot of married women. You see a lot of women in relationships, which means that most of these women, the majority, high majority of them, are going to settle for you. It's not the end all be all that you don't have that much money. So their little mindset is flawed. Just go and try to spit some game, bro. Like try to get yourself.
I think if you go over there, I mean, they're gonna be able to peep you're American.
I'm talking about here.
I think here, yeah. If you just spit some game and just be cool, because listen, like they gonna settle. Yeah, but the women they complain about, like you're gonna come across them, but not everybody is like that. I think a lot of these dudes just are not willing to do whatever they need to do to find and meet whatever they got to do for themselves, or just how they approach things. Maybe they've worked on themselves. They have just not approaching it right. Yeah.
They have warped minds because the internet really be making you think that that's everybody.
I'd rather date somebody in my culture. That's me personally. You know what I mean? Like I'd rather date an American FBA freedman, whatever you want to call it, woman, because she understands my culture. I want to instill that history in my children.
Yeah.
But the dudes who go overseas, they looking for something different. That's each to each his own. But that's me. I don't feel like I have to go overseas to do shit. Yeah. I feel like the gold digging is gonna be worse. But let's not drag this too long.
Let's move on.
Yeah.
You think they have BBLs in other countries?
People are going overseas to get these BBLs for cheap, so they do have BBLs overseas.
Did you see that DC Youngfly's longtime girlfriend passed away? And they said that she was in Miami trying to get some plastic surgery done.
Yeah,
passing away from complications.
That's the risk. That's the living by the sword. Like I feel devastated. Let me get this out the way first. Like I couldn't imagine that, and I think about that with like Kanye's mom when she died. I don't remember what surgery she was getting. I think it was cosmetic, right? I don't remember though.
It was cosmetic.
Yeah, like that's what I mean by living by the sword. Is like when you're any surgery has risks, but like when you're doing something like that,
it's a good point.
That you don't have to do. That is not life saving. That's completely different. That's like, she knew. I'm sure she knew the risks. I'm sure the risks were low, but it happened. The lottery, the negative lottery got pulled, so to speak. But that's devastating. I could not imagine that. She died at 32, man.
Yeah.
Like mother of 3 children. Mother of 3 children. Like I could not, my eyes are watering right now, because I just cannot imagine that being a young father. Now you are a single father.
Dude.
Mother your children dead. Like, you know, at 32. Like, y'all are just really starting your lives together.
Had a healthy,
starting that
like,
next phase.
Never had any toxicity up in the media about y'all relationship or nothing like that. Like, it seemed to be healthy and thriving. That's really a damn shame, bro. It makes you think, man, like, because you made that point earlier about how we're kind of creating, men are kind of creating these monsters, if you will, metaphorically speaking, of these women that are trying to get all this type of work done, have all these types of cosmetics on placed onto their body and added to their body, to where it seems like they have this image of whatever that social media Instagram model figure is, and that's kind of us. We kind of have to take some accountability for that.
Because, like, you know, when you look at, I remember I'm exposing myself. I follow a lot of BBL top model on Instagram. Don't go to my Instagram followers
or Twitter, dog.
Please, Twitter, I'll blow my brains out. But we've exposed it. So people who listen,
Dude,
don't say I didn't warn you.
Every man does.
Don't say I didn't warn you. On Twitter is really bad. So don't say I didn't warn you. Instagram is much more tame. Don't say I didn't warn you though on Twitter. Don't get mad at me, because I'm telling you now. You might as well get on Pornhub in X videos. But anyway, like, you know, we're creating that monster because, like, you know what I mean? Like, to get the clout, to get the attention that you're seeking, you want to look like a certain kind of thing. Like, the men are showing the validation by the follower counts.
Right.
What, you know, essentially.
The like count.
The
we sending you bands money. On OnlyFans. Yeah.
They're making meals on $1 million plus on OnlyFans, you know, Bad Baby, which I don't even think, from my understanding, Bad Baby be doing anything too wild on OnlyFans. I don't follow her or whatever, but that's what I've heard, is that, you know, I saw an article that said she was making,
I think she got a BBL
she's making
too,
like
though.
$10 million a month. She probably, she making $5-10 million a month, she better get a BBL and make some more money. But you know what I mean? Like, seeing people making all this money, you want to compete.
It reinforces it.
Only way to compete is you got to enhance.
Yeah.
And the men are doing it too.
How?
Like the guys who are getting that leg lengthening surgery, like they literally break your leg.
I think that's a very, very minuscule amount of men that are doing that.
It's going up though. I swear I heard about this when we were in high school. Like when we were in high school, I heard about men, like the beginning of it, like men were doing this. And in recent years, I see it at least once a month, another like transformation journey of a guy who's like 5'5", and he stretches it to where he can get to like 5'9" and 6 foot, like something like that. Like there was a picture with him and his girlfriend, they both like 5'5", and then he was towered over her. He was like my height. I'm like 6 foot. I'm like 6'1.5". And I was like, damn, like, is that worth it? Remember, we are both men over in the realm of 6 foot. So maybe it's unfair to say this, but is it that serious?
Yeah.
Is it that, like, and on both sides? Like, I'm talking about men and women. Like, women, I understand why it's serious. With men, like, is it that serious? I'm not a short man.
I mean, men, I don't know. That's an interesting question. I don't think women need to do it. I think that most women, just because they have the prize jewel, can get away with being a normal looking chick and don't have all the accentuated assets and shit. I think men, I don't think that the average height of men in the United States, at least, is even in the realm of 6 feet.
It's like 5'9", I think.
It's okay if it's like 5'9". Yeah. That means that, and you see, like, again, you see most women are coupled up with a nigga. So if the average is not in the 6 foot realm, that is kind of just proof that you don't need to be in the 6 foot realm. So whatever you got going on height wise works. I've seen a lot of men who aren't 6 feet tall.
Yeah, I mean,
who have chicks on the side.
Even my own friend group, there's some dudes who are 6 feet. There's some dudes who are not. That's perfectly fine. I don't even think about it consciously, but maybe that's because I'm not shorter than 6 foot. But like, maybe I should ask more people who are under 6 foot, would you do it? Is it that serious? Because, you know, even when I was and I haven't been on Tinder since college, but when I was on Tinder, they'd be like, if you're below 6 foot, don't talk to me. If your dick is under 7 inches, don't even. I
think it's cap though.
Call me.
I think it's cap. I don't think that they really mean that. I sound like a broken record now. It's the third time I'm gonna say it, but most of these women end up settling for the niggas that they say they don't want. Because there's more of them. In the long run, there's more of them. And you want somebody.
Yeah,
so you're going to have to settle.
Because I think in the long run they do. Yeah. Because I don't know, man. I've seen short dudes my whole life with a ridiculous amounts of game. There was this guy, I think I told the story before in college. He had to have been like 5'5", 5'4", 5'5". Nigga's bicep was bigger than my head. You see my big ass head? Dude was built like The Rock, but he was like 5'5". And he had, every time I saw him, he had a different girl in his arm. He was like 5'4". He was short. He definitely was like 5'4".
You got to
5'3",
compensate in
5'4".
other areas. And
Yeah,
that's
he
the
found
problem.
he found a way to hustle it. Yeah.
That's the problem with men, and we could segue this easily into our next topic. The problem with men is that we're always looking to compensate for something that we lack. So I heard this story about a boy who was on a cruise ship, 17 years old, hanging with his friends, apparently was dared to jump off of the side of the cruise. Pitch black night. Apparently shark-infested waters. Jumps off of the fucking cruise. Body isn't found. This boy, number one, because I have another take on it, but this boy, number one, clearly was trying to compensate for whatever that lack, that emotional lack that he was feeling from his so-called friends. First of all, who dares their friend to jump into the fucking water off a cruise ship?
Yeah. Our cruise ship, pitch black night, it's moving. It's not like they're at a dock. They're docked somewhere. The ship was moving fast as hell. If you saw the footage, like as soon as he hit the water, he's already moving out of frame very quickly.
I would question that my so-called friends, if they ever dare. The man did it, so I'm gonna assume that this was like some type of serious. I mean, a serious dare, but like, who's even gonna say that shit? As in, like, prove yourself to
watch
me.
you die. There's some sadists, man. It reminds me
and
of
like the hazing and stuff.
In the hazing, yeah, it reminds me of like my mom. She likes true crime, and she told me a few years ago about this case where like this guy was suicidal, and this girl who's supposedly his friend was like, "You should do it," and she was keeping him accountable about, "Did you get the equipment? Have you figured out how to seal off your garage? Have you?" Because you know, like.
I think that relates to the story a bit because I don't think that I don't think that a mentally okay, a mentally well individual would even make the decision to jump off of the side of a fucking moving cruise ship.
No, it's not, bro. Pitch black night. You know how long a big ass cruise ship, they're on the side. You know how long it would probably take to even get to the cockpit?
This to me just sounds like
assisted suicide.
Yes. Like I feel like this is low key kind of a suicide attempt that he was successful in. Because
I believe it. Yeah.
And there has to be some type of mental health, some type of mental illness involved.
Dude, you got me fucked up, bro. I had an older cousin, and when I was a kid, and she showed us Jaws. That shit, I've never been right.
That was the start of the ocean.
I'm still not right.
I've never been right.
I still, in video, I don't get in the ocean. I haven't been in the ocean. I don't know how long.
Bro, I'm right there with you.
You got me completely fucked up.
I get up to the calves. Maybe I get to the ankles to the calves, and then I'm standing in these waiting waters. I'm not going any deeper.
You got me so fucked up. Like when I was a little kid, but after that, my mom said I was like 4 or 5. Man. She showed me like 2 or 3 years old, like from like 3 to like 6. Not 6, like 3 to 4, 3 to 5. My mom said that I would like she would raise the bath water, and I'd be like, "Is that a shark in there? Is he a shark in there?"
That shit is horrifying.
I'm still fucked up, bro. In video games, I get to the edge of the water, and I gotta look. Like, do I see some shit in there? In a video game, I'm terrified.
Feel some seaweed cross on your feet, you'd be like, "What the fuck is that?"
Yeah, and it got worse because we went to Jamaica when I was a kid. My cousin got stung by a jellyfish. Just walked in the water and got stung.
That happens.
Oh, you got me fucked up. Oh, I was so good. I was so good.
It's dangerous.
I was so good. It was so bad. He was like, I still remember his screams. They had to take him to the emergency room. He looked like he was dying. I was like, oh fuck no, you got me fucked up.
You can die. That shit could kill you.
You got me complete. Like I'm good. So he's crazy. This was suicide. This was a suicide thing. And they said in the video, you can see the shark. They threw a buoy to him, and you see some shit in the water right to the left of the buoy.
It looked just like, because I don't know. They're saying that that's a shark. Whatever that waving is, it looks like a wave. It doesn't look like a shark. Like, at least it's not indistinguishable to where it's like, or completely distinguishable, I mean, to where you just like, oh yeah, I can see the fin, like that is a shark. But if they couldn't find the body, like that's sad to say. That's really, really dark. I'm sorry for a trigger warning. I'm sorry for making it morbid. But if you couldn't find the body, that probably does mean that he was eaten up.
Yeah. I mean, that's like my worst fear to go. Like, if you wanted to fuck, if like, we were in Harry Potter and Voldemort was like fucking with my mind, it would just be me just in a pitch black ocean, and you just see the sharks come up and they just start ripping me up. Yeah, that's like the worst way to go, and that like devastates me. And I hope,
be aggressive with
I hope he
too.
didn't go like that. Maybe he just got exhausted and drowned. But that's pretty bad.
But if he
too.
drowned, then
that's pretty bad too.
They still would have eat that body up.
Yeah, but he would be gone though. He wouldn't have felt that. Drowning apparently is one of the worst ways and most painful ways to die too.
Because they didn't find the body, dog. Like that. That means one thing. That means one thing.
Yeah, he probably did get eaten up.
That's really sad. This is sad. You want to move on?
Let's move on. My eyes are starting to water a little bit because I'm like, fuck. Like, imagine you just feel these like big ass. Like, I sent you a video this weekend where it was a diver, or on Friday, there was a diver and a shark went by, and the shark just like took like I didn't know they could protrude their jaws. He just like went next to him, looked at him, protruded his jaws at him. Like, you know, I can fuck you up, right?
Yeah, them niggas be looking crazy.
And then you can't tell me that was not intentional. He did that. He went next to him, stopped, looked at him, protruded his jaws. Like, you know, like basically flexed his gun on him. Like, you know, you in the wrong set, bro. They were like making all kinds of like gang jokes. Like, he flashed it on him. Like, he had to let him know, like, it would be this easy. And he just like nodded his head and he kept swimming.
That's funny. What do we want to move on to?
Let's move on to Spiderverse, man. Spiderverse, they're saying right now.
The number one movie in the world.
It doubled Mario. It doubled Mario, which is now the number 2 highest grossing animated film of all time. It doubled Mario's opening night. I already got my tickets, so you already know what it is. That first movie I saw in theaters too, that shit was incredible. That shit was one of the greatest animated movies I've ever seen. Beautiful, or best Spider-Man movie, period. I don't care what anybody says. And I already know this one's going to surpass it. People are saying this one makes the OG Raimi Spider-Man 2 look like a joke. And that's people's favorite. That's like held up as the best one.
I just don't like the way it looks. I think the animation is kind of nasty.
It's like, it's kind of like,
it looks like a comic book. Yeah.
It's like straight up
remember
like a comic book.
Remember the Hulk movie? The first Hulk movie, not the old TV show. The first Hulk movie. It was just called Hulk. Remember they used to have them scenes where they tried to make it look like a comic book panel?
Right.
How corny it was?
Yeah.
That's what Spider-Man is doing in these new movies. But it's not the panels, it's just like that artistic style. Like you can see like the little dots in the print.
Right.
You can see like the kind of like the strokes of the pen. I don't like it. I think it's kind of ugly.
Okay.
Not the entire movie.
That's a hot take, but okay.
And it also kind of just makes me not enjoy the movie. It's hard for me. Maybe it's an ADHD thing. I don't know. But it's hard for me when there's so much going on in the background, just all this whizzing around, all this action in the background.
And colors, and when they punch somebody, it says boom, or when a bomb blows up, it says bam. Like
it's distracting to me. Yeah. I just can't follow.
And the colors like pop like crazy. Like it's a very colorful, at least the first one. And when I've seen the second one, it's very colorful.
Yeah, it was just a bit much for me. I'm probably not gonna go see it in theaters. I'll probably wait for Disney Plus, but not for the reason that Dr. Umar said.
Oh yeah, Dr. Umar, when he learned about, he started seeing some of the promotional material.
He said, Gwen, who?
And he learned about Spider-Gwen and Miles potentially having a little thing going on. He was like, we have a snow bunny crisis. The mass media is pushing us interracial relationships down our throats so we can breed ourselves out of existence. And
I think he said that about The Little Mermaid too.
Yeah, he also did. I'm pretty sure he did a side-by-side. Once he learned about The Little Mermaid and Prince Eric, how Prince Eric looked, he did like a little side-by-side and was like, this is a crisis. And I'm not, listen, before y'all kill me.
You haven't even said anything yet.
Yeah, I know the internet gets, they be like, you said what? And they're going a whole tangent about how, you know what I mean, before you even said anything.
Choose your words wisely.
Only thing I got to say is, like, I do agree that you don't really see, like, black on black love as much as you think you should.
I don't like the way you said that.
All right, black, you know what I mean? Like a love between a black man, black woman, or just, you know what I mean? Or just black people in general,
Black love, yeah, black love.
You know what I mean? Man, woman. You know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's usually, if they have a black character, they're usually in some kind of interracial relationship, mostly with a white person.
Okay.
And I can agree with that. Right? I don't deny that. He's like, well, children are watching this, and they're going to want to date white women after this because they have a crush on Spider-Gwen. That's what I've been seeing all over Twitter, not just Umar. All I got to say is I agree to a certain extent, but I think Umar is a sensationalist, and that's how he drums up his hype, is by being like a reactionary, essentially.
Yeah, because
like the right-wingers have their reactionaries too. He's like a Hotep reactionary.
That's what he does.
Yeah.
Like if you go onto his Instagram channel, if you go onto his Twitter account, you're gonna see everything about what he's talking about. Like it's just black relationships, black politics. So this is just a dip in the water. The same way we look at some of these topics and we'd be like, oh yeah, that one that kind of writes itself. He's doing the same exact thing. He's a media account. Like we don't think of him that way, but he's a media personality.
He plays into the memes too.
This nigga's doing interviews with the Breakfast Club. Like he's a media personality. Y'all are just giving him cash.
Millions of views. They give him views. No Breakfast Club interviews with him because they're funny. Because he be mean. Because he's like
a media personality. That's what he is. He's there for entertainment. I don't take him seriously anymore. Maybe when I first found out about him.
No, I don't. When I first found out about him, I did. But I think he's a grifter and a scammer. That's what I think about Umar. I think he has great points. Don't get me wrong. A lot of people said like if he was actually serious, he actually wasn't trying to get money and scam. He's a great orator. Like I think he has potential to be up with the greats if he actually was serious. That's how I feel about Umar. Yeah. But he's not.
No, he uses that as his brand. That's his brand, is that I'm the next. What does he call himself? Like the next. He calls himself like
consciousness and all kinds of shit. Like
that's just his brand. I do think that this grifter. I've been hearing a lot of people say that lately. This whole grifter
because a lot of people are grifting. Like
I think that when we say that though, it's just because people are making money, and I don't.
Well, they're making money on shit they don't really believe in, or they
how
take
do we know that?
Well, like when you look at Candace Owens, you can't. Your whole brand is there is no racism and blah 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 blah. And you need to worship white people and whatever bullshit she talks about.
What if she's just stupid?
But just wait, hear me out. But when she was in college, she was suing a whole bunch of a white university for being racist towards her. I think it was one of her professors was being racist towards her, and she sued the school. And she never talks about it. It's like it doesn't exist. And it's all on record, all on file. People know about this, and she acts as if it doesn't happen. There's no racism. Forget about it. That's a grifter. I think you can be called a grifter if you're peddling some fake story, your life is all made up. You're peddling an ideology, and then people expose your history of it not being true. Like I think another example is like a Rachel Dolezal. She pretends that she's a black woman, has a whole making money in NAACP, and it gets exposed that you're a white woman, you're a grifter. She may actually be crazy and believe that she's a black woman, but you're making money off the name of something that's not true. You're making money off of a image, off of an ideology that you don't really identify with, or you can't because you're not that race. If you get what I'm saying, you're pretending to be something you're not and making money while doing it. And if it gets confirmed, you're a grifter. Now, people throw it around as an accusation a lot. I think that's what the problem is.
Yes. But
and
I don't think it fits a lot of times. I think that just because someone doesn't have your ideology or maybe is just stupid or ignorant about certain things, I don't think that makes them a grifter. I think that people are conflating the word grifter with, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think that's the definition, but I think they're conflating that word with capitalism. If you're making money off of your opinions, if you're making money off of your rhetoric, now you're a grifter. But it's not. I think it just stops at if you're just trying to swindle, if you're just trying to misrepresent things and miseducate people, spreading misinformation. That's the grift, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
It has nothing to do with the capitalist aspect of it. Because I heard I was having a conversation with one of the homies, and he was talking about David Goggins. You know who David Goggins is?
Yeah, I've seen watched a video about his life story.
Just a motivational guy.
Joe Rogan? I'm pretty sure I watched it
a couple times. He's just a guy. He's just a motivational story, motivational guy, motivational figure. And he was the friend I was talking to said that he was a grifter because he falls into this bucket of people. He called it hyper individualism, is what he called it. This bucket of people that spew. The grift on that side is that they're spewing this type of motivational speech, as in to say that kind of like the pick yourself up by your bootstraps thing. I don't see that. I see it as, at least on what he's spewing, the David Goggins types, the Kobe Bryant types, who else did he mention? Gary Vee types. These people are just inspiring people.
Right.
Is inspiration a grift?
I don't think it's a grift because you can have an autobiography. Oh, can we pause for a second? My mom is trying to get something out of my room really bad.
Sure.
I was trying to do it quietly, but it's just not looking right.
All right, we're back.
Yeah, back to David Goggins. I don't think it's a problem if you have an inspirational story, you have an autobiography, you tell the story, and you give motivational speeches. Because I think when it comes to something being called a grift, I think it's when you're pushing an ideology, whether you think it's dangerous or not. and it can be toxic. You know what I mean? You're pushing
Yes,
ideology
dangerous.
you don't really be dangerous, or you don't believe in. You could be somebody who's a right winger, and you pretend to be some kind of leftist egalitarian. I think that's grifting too. But just telling your life story and your belief is, self accountability and self motivation. You know,
and just
save my life
as an individual.
Here's why. Exactly. I don't see that as a grift.
That's why I was saying earlier that it's because people are connecting it to the capitalism aspect of it, because he was saying that he goes even further than just serving as a motivational individual. He goes to the extent of making books that he sells. He goes as far as to charging people to speak at events. He's making money off of his own story, his own person. That's no different than anybody who has a talent. That's no different than anybody who has a skill going to make money. You know what I mean? There's like an attack, and I get hyper individualism. Like I'm a collectivist. You know, I think that the world would thrive even so much exponentially more if everybody just worked collectively instead of working as individuals, instead of trying to suppress somebody else in order for them to get to the top. Right? Obviously, I think that's the case, and I think that could be proven in pretty much any species, and pretty much that does it. And, you know, pretty much any test that you want to run. But at the same time, like, I do think that it's good for people to want to become better as individuals. Like, there's realities to the fact that people are in fucked up situations and probably aren't going to be able to get the levels of other people that are in better or luckier situations. Yes, right? That's why we need to be collective. But you should be trying to become better. You know, you should be trying to better your life in some way. I don't think that's a problem. And so to have other people talking about the same exact thing and preaching that mindset, why is that a grift?
Yeah, that's not a grift to me. Like, are we going to call Malcolm X a grifter for his autobiography?
Exactly.
I don't know who published it or who put it out. It's probably his family. Are you going to call them grifters?
Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
Or Martin Luther King Jr.?
What's wrong with making money off your story? Exactly. Like, what's wrong with making if they compiled all of his letters together and maybe his family put it out, or maybe some other documentation he had and put it out. Are they now grifters?
Or had a church. He was making money off of him speaking.
Yeah, if you have a compelling story and you charge people to see it, how's that grifting?
Yeah, I didn't get it. I wanted to get that off my chest. Another thing I need to get off my chest is the amount of bullshit that I've been seeing. There's a lot of misinformation being spewed. Primarily, I see it on Twitter. The most recent one that I saw was that Jaime Foxx was paralyzed and left blind from taking a COVID vaccine. We all know that he was in medical care for having some type of condition. I don't think it was disclosed. But all of a sudden, random ass accounts that people seem to believe, because the shit was trending, it's probably still trending, happened to be verified accounts too. I think that's why people believed it. You know, people get swindled so easily. The grift that we were just talking about.
A verified account in Elon Twitter, in the Elon era. The Elon dynasty of Twitter. Fuck is a
pay
verified
$5
account.
for that shit.
Most of the time, verified is some racist dude using it so he can signal boost his views to the top.
And I'm not saying that every single right-wing person is racist, but I'm not going to say it. Hold on. Let's be responsible. Let's be responsible, though. Right? But
I don't know how you can be right wing and not be a racist, but maybe there's one guy who just is misguided and really loves
I'm just
black
saying,
people.
I don't want to alienate. I don't want to alienate. I'm just saying, because there could be right wing people that watch the show or that listen to the show. But
I'd be surprised because we get pretty quote unquote woke on here, but
But
the black definition we do get woke, but the right wing definition, we get pretty. Let me even say.
Yeah, let me finish my thought. What I'm saying is, I don't even remember what I was going to say. I was talking about the accounts. I don't remember. Do you have any thoughts on it?
It's just they're just signaling on Jaime. 2 weeks ago, the same page was talking about Jaime on his deathbed, family considering pulling plug. Jaime on his deathbed, people are saying he may not make it. And his daughter came out immediately after, like, my dad was playing on the basketball court, like, today. I saw it with my own eyes. What are you guys talking about?
Yeah.
So I don't know what it is with Jaime. Why are they so focused on spreading lies about Jaime? But clearly he's the target right now.
I don't think it's a target. You think it's a target?
Yeah, because how do you tell people? I was so sad for like an hour that I thought this was real.
I didn't believe that shit for a second.
I was like, not Jaime, bro. Like, I'm going to be real sick because Denzel's getting old. You know what I mean? Like, I wish him a long life. I hope he lives in 110 and is healthy and happy. But we all got to go at some point. You know how devastated I'm gonna be when Denzel passes. You get what I'm saying? Jamie is like in that realm where I'll be like, fuck, like, dude, I'd be sad for like a week. You know what I mean? Like I was.
Yeah, he's a legend.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you know. So
but the reason why I didn't believe it, at least this story, that's what I was trying to say before, is because a lot of these platforms and just random ass people that were talking about it were just randos. They were just that. They were just randos. You didn't hear anything. Like I know TMZ talked about the critical condition thing and, you know, they got that wrong or whatever like that. But most of the time, if you see just random ass people, especially like these like little right-wing trolls that are trying to push a narrative, because they were talking about the COVID vaccine. They're saying that the reason why he's in this medical condition is because of the COVID-19 vaccine. And they were bringing up all this shit from the past. Damar Hamlin, all these random celebrities that got sick and ended up dying during the pandemic that might have taken the vaccine as well. They're just trying to push a narrative. So yeah. Maybe he is a target because he's celebrity, you know, and people think that all celebrities are liberal, so he's like a liberal celebrity that took the vaccine. So it's kind of, but I don't know, because wouldn't they try to be like sticking up for him in a way if they're saying like, hey, see, they got another one, like poor Jamie Foxx.
A lot of times they'll throw that in just so they'll say it, they'll do it under the guise that they're trying to stick up for him. But these are like these like quacks who believe all this ridiculous. See, we're all gonna die from the vaccine. See, it kicks in 2 years later.
I can't believe people are still talking about that shit. Is that really like? I'm sorry, but I haven't gotten a booster in over 6 months, dog.
It's been 2 years since I've gotten anything COVID shot, right? I got my 2 shots, and then I didn't get a single booster.
Are we still talking about vaccines? I feel like they're just holding on to that narrative, bro. That's all they have. They don't have any policy. They just holding on to the vaccines.
This is probably still a big deal in like these weird like conspiracy theory circles, and they just someone made up a story.
But it's not even a thing. It's not even a mandate anymore.
It worked, right? We're at a point in quote unquote journalism where we just make up some bullshit. Actors in the hospital just say he's dying from AIDS and just see what happens.
That's what you're saying. I thought you were saying like, the vaccine worked, because as soon as everybody
they could have just said like rumor is Jamie Foxx secretly had AIDS and now he's on his deathbed.
Yeah, and people probably would have believed that too.
People would have believed it. Like.
It's the stupid people, though. It's the stupid people, and it's the stupid people. I don't want to alienate, but I have to say it. It's the stupid people that follow these accounts. If y'all following those accounts, if y'all following Rap TV,
Daily
Loud, Pop Things, or whatever the fuck,
Shade Room too. Even people say
you might need to, you know, go. I hope at least fact check. That's all I'm gonna say, because I don't want to insult nobody.
We're in an era where like a large percent of America listens to Fox News, and some people call it faux news. Faux news.
Yeah,
that's what I've been seeing people call it lately.
Yeah, and I have heard, because I think it's older people that watch Fox News, isn't it? Like if you looked at a demographic chart, it's probably older people. It's definitely people that aren't in our generation. Like I could say it that way.
But
probably not that many
millennials
in
our generation who probably tune in to Tucker clips all the time.
There's some, of course. There's some. There's some of everybody doing everything. Yeah. But there's some pedophiles. You know, there's some serial killers, but not everybody. I think the majority of those people.
Some on those, but that's just me.
Yeah, I'm not talking about that though. But I think that I think the majority of the people that watch Fox News are of an older generation. They have to be like in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and maybe even beyond. And the thing about that, I've heard someone say that in their generation, the news, they looked at the news, right? Fox News, CNN, ABC, they looked at this as you're telling me the truth. There was no such thing as fact checking. I mean, of course, there's such thing as fact checking. Let me say that in a different way. It's just that you were tended to believe, hey, how do you know that? Oh, I saw it on the news, right? And that would be a valid reason. Oh, okay, I see. Like, yeah, I believe that too. Then, if it was on the news, it must be true, right? Now, the news could be anybody. It could be a random fucking verified Twitter
most
user.
People get their information from social media. They just a random person will just say this such and such just happened and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Now they might have tweets, there are videos and stuff, but most people are. The internet has taken on a life of its own where
everybody could be a journalist, everybody could be media.
Exactly. Even like, there's a whole like section like black, and we're looking at Black America where they call it the new black media, and it's just like a whole bunch of like grassroots people who report on stories that get ignored by mainstream media. That talks about racism and racist stuff. So you know what I'm saying? Anybody can. You don't have to be official to be the news.
Right.
You can just pick up and start doing your own investigative journalism, interviewing people, reaching out. You know what I mean? Covering taking the information that has been presented or something that hasn't been signal boosted and do it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but the problem is there's a lot of bad actors they don't care. They'll just say anything.
But it's still like, so what the people of another generation would say, like, oh, I saw it on the news. We're thinking, oh, I saw it on social media.
Yep, I saw it on Twitter. Yep.
Not only is it this person that's saying it, but this person. If you see like it's trending, you know what I mean? Like, if it's trending, it must be true. Like, you know what I'm saying? That happens so many. So I think fact checking is just kind of new. Like, for people that are, you know, aware of that, of the fact that you need to fact check things, you know, especially with the last president that we had, who was a fucking liar.
Fake news. That's the whole new reality.
He coined his own hustle.
Yeah,
he coined his own hustle and called it fake news.
All these other, they're like in the same lines as Fox News, where it's like, where's that? And then when they get caught, it's like, well, people should know that we were just lying. Yeah. People should know that we were just playing a character. Every time Fox News gets caught at who? Oh,
Fox News. Yeah, Fox
every time Fox News gets caught up in some bullshit, some
it's
defamation,
entertainment.
It's an entertainment show.
Right. Yeah,
we're not reporters. We're playing characters.
They do say that.
Yeah.
They do say that.
Let just be bullshit. It's just bullshit. It's just we're gonna just spread bullshit to just create a narrative, create propaganda, and rile up people.
Fact check your sources, yo.
I don't know. Twitter claims to be fact checking those little Twitter notes, and sometimes it just straight up.
Sometimes they work.
Sometimes they work, but sometimes these dudes just be raging. Like it's not written as if it's like a neutral third party fact check.
Yeah, it's like a Wikipedia.
It's like some dude. I swear I saw one where a dude was like, "This just simply isn't true. I don't believe this. Swear to God." I saw
like a Wikipedia thing.
I saw a Twitter note that was like that. Really? Who's doing it? Because
I think it's open source.
It's Twitter employees doing this.
Is it?
Could be wrong. Like there was a post about now apparently there's like a lot of white cuisine pages or like oxtail.
White what?
Like white cuisine.
Oh, like food.
Like when I mean by white cuisine, I mean like pages that are owned by white people who put a spotlight on different kinds of foods on Twitter. They've been putting more of a spotlight. I can't think of the name of the page on like oxtails, and it was like a whole like little like mini documentary about oxtails and like how good they are and the culture, where they come from. And there was like a Twitter firestorm where it was like a whole bunch of black people, like of Caribbean descent. But my family eats oxtails. They used to make oxtails too. So it's probably like American blacks and like Caribbean blacks and Africans and stuff. They were like talking about, don't eat oxtails. It'll swell up your dick and it'll fall off. And it was like people just making up the most outlandish stories. And somebody in the footnotes was like, this is just an attempt. Like, it was like the dude was mad. Like, it was like whoever wrote that cliff note was like really angry about, this is black people lying about something in XYZ and the third. And they chased him off the internet to the point where they removed the cliff note. So I don't even know if I believe that's fact checking rather than somebody just being angry. Like, who
most of the ones that I've seen though, most of the ones that I've seen are pretty factual. At least I believe them. And maybe that's I got to fact check. I got to fact check the fact checker now. That's where we at. That's where we at in the United States now. You got to fact check, or I guess in the world, got to fact check the fact checker. Do we want to talk about Shannon Sharpe real quick before, because we're running kind of long now. Let's talk about Shannon Sharpe.
Let's talk about Shannon.
Hey, it's not really that big of a deal. You know, it's not that much to explain. Has some beef with Skip Bayless, I think.
Skip
was able to figure out a way to get Fox to buy him out of his contract on his show Undisputed with Skip Bayless. So he's a free agent. Stephen A. Smith put out the invitation for him to come to his show. I would love to see Shannon Sharpe.
About, instead of saying Skip, he gonna be like Steve.
I would love to see Shannon Sharpe and Stephen A. Smith work together. I mean, first of all,
that show will go to the roof in ratings. That show will be
bro. It already is. I think First Take is already the top show. But if you get a personality like Shannon Sharpe on that shit, my God, new stratospheres. Because he's normally I'm not trying to get racy, but he's normally paired up with a white dude. That's just the history of the show.
Yeah,
he was with Skip Bayless. He was with Matt Kellerman, something like that. Max Kellerman.
Yeah.
The new dude he has, white dude. JJ Redick is starting to make a lot of appearances on there. They not going to put Kendrick Perkins ass on there. This would be, and I think that ESPN probably has other shows that are black, you know, so I'm not saying that they don't exist, but of this caliber, the top sports show in the world besides SportsCenter,
right?
That would be a big deal.
Yeah, I think, and I don't even watch. I mean, I know who they are. I've seen clips of both of them. And I know very well who they are. But I think just thinking about them, that would be some great chemistry. I feel like they would bounce off each other really well, and they'd be cracking a lot of jokes. It kind of reminds me of like that show. I don't know what it's called, but I see all these clips with Charles Barkley and Shaq and them. That show, like they just have all these like they crack all these jokes. I feel like it would be the same kind of like
same energy.
It would just be like it would be some hilarious like moments they would have all the time.
Yeah, because I think that First Take needs a consistent dude. Like they have their like revolving door of people that they bring on that are consistent on the show, but it's still kind of like right now it's in an area where it's like Stephen A. show. Even though because he's like the guy at ESPN, he does everything for them. If they can land Shannon Sharpe, oh my God, how can they could scale that so much, bro, and they be able to keep him as a permanent guy. I think that'd be solid. What else do we have? Do we have anything else?
I think that's it. Let's do D cuts.
All right. This was another great episode.
Oh, yes, it was. It was a really good episode. We went a little longer today, but we had some hot topics to hit on. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
We had some laughs. We had some cries.
All right, y'all. Take it easy.
We'll be back here next week. Same place, same time for another episode. Peace.